Most often when I see a horse that's considered to be a confirmed mugger of treats, I see a horse that has a whole arsenal of things that it tries out on people in order to get treats. And the reason why they have all these different behaviors is because at different points in time they've been rewarded for those behaviors, and they know that at some point in time they worked, so they're going to keep trying them out. And what often happens is that a person will get overwhelmed. The horse will be in their space and right up on top of them, and they might even be afraid that they're going to get nipped, so that they can't get the horse to back up and do what they want, so they give them the treat. And the horse is busy eating the treat, and then they recollect themselves and they try to do what they were doing all over again and try to do it in a different way. And what they don't realize is when they were getting that horse to back off of them and get away from them by giving them the treat, they just rewarded them for doing that bad behavior. So that horse puts that away in its mind and thinks, okay, this is something I can try out on this person in this type of situation. When X happens and I do Y, I get my treat. So whenever the trigger for that behavior shows up, the horse is like, aha, last time the person did this and I did this, it worked and I got my treat. So you'll see a horse will put together these patterns of behavior, and they'll end up with a whole bunch of different things that they're trying out on you to get treats. My grandmother used to have a little toy dog of some sort. I don't remember the breed, and the breed's kind of irrelevant, but whenever she would get on the phone, the dog would go and dump all the garbage containers in all the different rooms. It would dump the garbage in the bathroom, in the kitchen, in the bedroom, wherever there was garbage, it would dump it. My grandmother would hang up the phone, go get the dog, and give the dog something to eat to keep it occupied, and then she'd get back on the phone. So the dog learned this chain of events happens. If my grandmother got on the phone and it emptied the garbage, it would get food. Now, when you have a horse that's mugging, they've developed similar patterns. They've realized that when the person does A, they do B, they get the treat. Here's a situation that might help you see what I'm trying to say. Look at a child in a grocery store. The child's acting up and carrying on and just pitching a fit to try and get the adult to give them what they want, whether it be a toy or a candy or a cookie or some other McDonald's even, whatever. The kid's acting up because the child knows that the person is going to get embarrassed at a certain level and going to give in and give them what they want. So it's the same thing with the horse. The horse knows to push and push and push until you've reached a certain level where you're going to give in and give them what they want. Sometimes we look at this a little bit too complexly. A horse isn't looking at these behaviors as being good or bad. Just like the child isn't looking at whether they're being good or bad. They're not realizing whether they're actually being good or bad. They're just realizing that when a certain situation presents itself, if they do a certain thing, then they get what they want. So in both cases with the child and the horse, that's what it is. It's a basic pattern, a basic formula that they know works. The easiest and most effective way I've found to fix this problem is to not reward these types of bad behavior. Like the child in the supermarket. When he's off the hook and yelling and screaming and jumping around, you give him the treat that he wants, he's going to pull that the next time he's in the store. And the horse is going to do the same thing. If the horse realizes that it gets in their face and gets all pushy and maybe threatens to nip, you're going to give them the cookie or whatever it is they want with the hope that they'll back up enough so that you can regroup yourself and start all over again. The horse is going to realize, well, I can try this out on them again. So you need to be consistent and not reward these types of behavior. Now, in the beginning, their behavior will probably escalate before it'll get better. Like the child in the grocery store, the child's probably going to go 10 times worse than it's ever done before because they're going to try and push you to the limit and try and find the limit that they can push you to before you give them whatever it is they want. And the horse will do the same thing. The horse is going to try and push you farther than it ever pushed you before, because it thinks, well, maybe if I just push you a little bit more, a little bit more, a little bit more, a little bit more, you might give in. Because this is how they got to that point to begin with. The first push that they probably gave the person was very subtle, and then the next push a little bit more and a little bit more and a little bit more. This didn't just start immediately all at once. It grew into this problem. I'm going to show you a section of video where I'm working with my horse on some minor misbehaviors. Now, I created this situation by having my horse stand there with nothing to do. Now, this is something you want to keep in mind, that if you have a horse that's busy doing something, they're less likely to be thinking about different ways to manipulate you to get a treat. But if you have a horse that's just standing there with nothing to do but wait for you to do something, like say you're talking to somebody and the horse is just standing there, it's got plenty of time to think about, I think I'll try this or this or this. In this situation, I've sat and read books, magazines, newspapers with my horse many times, but my horse is usually eating hay or he's playing with a toy. He's not usually asked to just stand there and do nothing while I read the newspaper. So his being asked to stand there and do nothing while I read the newspaper, of course, invites a little bit of misbehavior, so that I can show you some of the ways that I would block him in some situations, some other situations ignore him. Like when he pulls my hat off and it falls on the ground, I don't even bend down and pick the hat up right away, because I don't want to draw attention to what he did with the hat. My battery died, and you'll notice my horse is still in the same position that he was in when I left him. Good boy. Good boy. Alright. He's going to start up with the old behavior, just as he would probably on your second day of doing this. I just went and got batteries and came back, and now he's thinking, well, I'm going to try my old behaviors and see if they work. But he very quickly learns, good boy, that it's not going to work. So they test you, see if you're going to slack up or if you're going to forget, or you're going to try the easy way out. They're going to try and manipulate you just as a little kid would try to manipulate you to get cookies from you. Very good. I don't know if you can see in the video, but he's flapping his lips around, which is a way that he asks for a snack. He knows putting his head away is what I want, and he's saying, that's what I'm doing. Now we want to be careful not to let him get the idea that he's supposed to bite the paper and then put his head away. We don't want him to create that behavior chain. So I'm not giving him a treat for that last time, but I will this one. You have to really use your judgment when you're teaching a horse something, and think about what you're rewarding. You really don't have to punish them per se in these types of situations. You block them from coming into your space and ignore the bad behavior, unless they're doing something like biting you. If they're biting you, then I would give them some form of correction. You don't ever want to be hurt in training them. Now see, he's learning that he needs to behave while I'm reading the paper. Now I picked reading the paper because it's something unusual, but you can apply this to any training situation that you're doing with a horse. A horse should be able to stand and behave itself while you're talking to someone. You're just going to ignore that. he's trying out different behaviors to see what will get him a treat. Good boy. So you let him try out those different behaviors and let him find out for himself that they don't work. And you don't eat newspapers. He's retrying an old behavior. This paper is a mess. Oh, he's going to steal my hat. Which is a trick that he knows. Stealing my hat is a trick that we do. He steals my hat, and then I ask him, can I have it back? And he gives it back to me. And then I ask him if he wants to wear it. So he's trying out that trick. Good boy. That's very good. Try out the paper again. Does that taste good? Ink's probably not very good for you. Good boy. No. Good boy. I didn't want to get too enthusiastic about ripping the paper. Good boy. That's a good boy. See how you can block them from your space. You don't need to push and slap and so forth with a horse. That's a very good boy. Look at him try to put his head way over. Because I'm going to try and put it far away from you as I can and see if I can get a treat for that. Good boy. That's all right. That's all right. You can look at the paper. Just don't worry biting and ripping it while I'm trying to read it. Very nice. That's a very nice job. Very good. Very, very good job. Very nice. Very, very good job. Good job. Good job. Yeah. All right. That's a good boy. Very good boy. That's a very nice job. All right. All right. Nice job. Nice job. Now, a way that you could do this at this point would be, while you're waiting in between snacks, actually count. Like 1 through 5, give them a treat. Then 1 through 7, give them a treat. 1 through 10, give them a treat. 1 through 20, give them a treat. And extend the time longer and longer between treats. And like I said, if he did this every day, he would get the idea eventually that the only way he's going to get a treat is if he's standing with his head away from you. He's not pulling on the paper or doing any other kind of bad behavior. He'll know that the probability of him getting a treat while you're reading the paper only exists if his head is turned away from you. Bubby. Bubby. I think maybe I better pick up my paper. Look at all these pieces. Look at all these pieces, Bubby. What a good boy. Can you wait right there for me? Can you wait right there? All right, you wait right there for me, okay? Testing to see if coming into my space will work. Big sigh. Release the tension. Shake of the head. Good boy. Very nice. That's a very nice job. Very good. Very, very good job. Very nice. Very, very good job. Good job. Good job. Yeah. All right. Another good lesson to teach a horse that's mugging you for treats is to stand and wait. When you teach a horse this and they do it longer and longer, then you're teaching them patience. And patience is something that a mugger doesn't have. A horse that's used to mugging is looking for instant gratification. If you teach it to wait, you're teaching it to have patience. And that will in turn help you when you're doing other things with the horse. That's cool. Let me just mess around with this camera for a minute, buddy. Yeah, alright. Yeah. That's a good boy over there. What a good boy. Look at those lips moving. He says, "Can I have a snack?" I'm doing what I'm supposed to be doing, huh? I'm just waiting and waiting and waiting while you mess around. That's a good boy. That's a very nice job. Waiting teaches patience.